Did you ever really want to take a step in learning how to use databases, but you weren't sure where to start?
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
Well, in this video, I think I have a place you could start and have some fun if you're a Star Wars fan.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's going to be cool. Check it out. Okay, so this is a little bit of an overview of a download that I'm providing for free that you can access in the comments, or if you're on the website, you can access it via the blog post where we talk about what is a database. It's a simple explanation, but using Star Wars data. So that's what I've crafted here. You're gonna see an overview of a Microsoft Access file that's a database, and it contains Star Wars data. Now, in the overview, I talk about the tables and also how to quickly create a query. So if you're using this in a classroom setting, it's a great tool to introduce to your students who might be wanting to learn how to code but haven't learned about databases yet. And also, if you're doing it at home or even teaching yourself how to code, databases are very, very important in application development, aka software development or software coding. Okay, so take a look at this overview. If at any time you have any questions, feel free to message me, fred@getmecoding.com, or even message me in the comments and I'll get back to you. Enjoy this free download, and I hope you get excited about using this Star Wars data as much as I had fun putting it together for you and working with another series of resources. But also stay tuned, you'll see some other things coming out in the very near future. Take it easy, and may the Force be with you. Okay, so now that you're in here, you're looking at Microsoft Access, and this is going to be an overview of the Star Wars database that I'm making available to help people learn about how to use databases. So this is the version, once again, that's using Microsoft Access, but there's going to be a few other ones that you'll be able to utilize too for Microsoft SQL Server and eventually MySQL. So when you come into this download, you're going to notice that over on the left-hand side, you'll have your Access objects, and the objects that are listed here are known as tables. So you'll see a variety of tables all containing data. So if you were to click on one of these tables, you would see that it would open up over here. And this is a data view, but you can notice up here in the left corner, you could change the different views that you have. So if I want to switch over to the design view, it takes me in and it shows me Microsoft Access's design view. When you look at this design view, you could see that it's broken up into field names and then the associated data types. So each field has a specific data type. That means it can hold a specific type of value or a piece of data. So here we have the Planet Climate ID, and then the data type is a number. Planet Climate is long text, and that's where you would see the description of this. To close that down, you can X that out, and then you're back to where you began. Once again, double-clicking it opens it up and you can see the data. Now, viewing that data does not mean that you initiated what's known as a SQL command. It's just a feature within this particular tool. When you go down through the list here, you're going to notice that there is a naming structure, and for those that are new to it, it may seem a little bit confusing, but I'm going to also show you how you can view this as a entity relationship diagram, or an ERD. Up here, when you click on database tools, you'll notice that there's an option called relationships. By clicking on that, you're going to notice that it displays all of these what look like boxes, but these are the tables in the database. So once again, you have all of them listed here, and you'll notice that there's connector lines. That's because these tables are related. When tables are related, that allows you to retrieve data from the related tables. When they're not related, getting the data from them, it takes a little bit more work. So this is a relationship view. It kind of like becomes your roadmap. So when you see that tables are related, it allows you to build queries by making sure you include those tables. So let's see how that's done. Down here at the bottom, I've also included a handful of queries pre-made. So for example, if I want to see the starships and their pilots, I can double click that, and that'll open up, and it'll open up in another tab. So the relationship tab is still there, and so is the Starship Pilots query now. So when you double click a query down here, it will display the data. So this is a query, and behind this query is SQL, Structured Query Language, and that'll be talked about in another video. But when you come in here now, you can see all the data being displayed. You have your people name, starship name, vehicle manufacturer, starship class. You could adjust the width of these columns by taking your mouse and then hovering over the dividers until your arrow, or until you'll see that split arrow. And you could drag that along and it'll widen the field. Or you could double click it and it'll also jump to the width of an item. So we'll come over here, oops, and double click this, and then it'll widen itself. Now, if I want to go and see how this query was designed, I can come up here to the left-hand corner and click on the design, and it'll show the tables that were included to make this query possible. So down here, you can see that these are the fields that we selected, and you'll notice it says, when you look at this is known as the Query by Design grid. So in Microsoft Access, it allows you to visually create queries without needing to know anything about SQL, which is actually being generated behind this. So you have people name, you have the table that it came from, and then here your column, table again, column, table, and so on. If you don't want to include a field, you can uncheck a box like that and run your query. I'll leave that checked, but if I want to see the results, come up here and there's an exclamation point, and for those of you who are coders, that's also referred to as the shebang. So you can click on run and then you get your data resulting. If you really wanted to take a peek back at this and start to learn a little bit more, you could look at the SQL that got generated from this. So instead of going back to the design view, I could click on the SQL view and that will display this. Now, if you've never looked at SQL before, this looks like a massive run-on sentence, but it's really a structured query, and you could see that it contains a select clause. So select those fields and then from these tables, and it's working with a series of type of joins. I'm going to go back to the data sheet view so you can see my data. So that's what's included in this particular download, and I encourage you to make your own queries, explore the data tables, and have a little bit of fun. And I'm also providing with the download some guidance on how you could use this in your classroom or at home or even on your own, however you're wanting to learn about databases using Microsoft Access. So I hope this was a helpful video, and if you have any comments, please feel free to message me or even leave the question in the comments below. Have a great day, and may the force be with you.